Happy Friday, hockey fans. Welcome into NHL Today here on SportsGrid TV. Kasey Hudson has the pleasure of running through all of the top headlines, injury updates, some top plays, and talk with Joe Madden as well as Dave Sharapan about all things hockey on this Friday. So first and foremost, if you've joined us here before, you know the deal. We got to case the league to see all the things going on. We pull the microscope out. We hone in on all of the headlines, the information, and the injury updates as promised going down in the NHL. So first and foremost, the top headline encasing the league. I hate to say it, this guy has been on a complete tear. He's been in pursuit of further greatness. Yes, the one and only Alex Ovechkin, out for 4 to 6 weeks with a fracture to his left foot, which just sucks because in 18 games, 25 points, sitting at a plus 15 rating, 3 games, 15 goals on the season. But more importantly, guys, if you've seen the statistics, the numbers, the graphics, and oh my gosh, the cries when we found out that Oreview was going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, 15 goals on the season. He's had 15 goals in the entire season over the course of the last 3 seasons. So obviously getting closer to that magic number, chasing greatness. But I like to say in pursuit of greatness because he has always been top of the charts. I don't think it's going to slow down his progress much. I mean, when you're talking about somebody who was just so hard to keep off the board, look at the numbers from what the Capitals were doing up until last night's performance. But we'll get into that a little further for our 3 stars of the week. Now, moving further, encasing the league, we got Filipino for the Rangers. He is on the West Coast trip. More importantly, though, he did miss his 3rd straight game last night after he sustained an upper body injury last week. 9 points in 15 games, sitting at a plus 11 rating. Key contributor on that stellar, oh-so-hot 3rd line for the Rangers. They do conclude their road trip tomorrow versus the Oilers, and this right here is going to be a key game to see how they can piece everything together. Sometimes we see solid performances up front, forwards coming alive. We're not talking about Zibanejad anymore, but the number of goals and shots being let up, the defensive structure, the lack of help to Shesterkin sometimes, these are still issues that the Rangers are facing as they move forward. So Hito getting back into the mix will be crucial, especially because if you guys have heard me, I'll go on this rant before, if you've seen me tweet about it, the 3rd line has been just as dominant, just as clutch, and just as important for the New York Rangers as their top line. Or even their top 6 guys most nights, which brings me to another 3rd star guy that we'll talk about later down the line. Then continuing to case the league, Patrik Laine, good news here, skated with the Canadiens this week for the first time since his massive injury. Anybody who saw what the Canadiens were producing in terms of odd man rushes last year, you were probably equally as excited for Patrik Laine to join this roster, to bring his talent to this roster. And look, he's a guy that's going to be an impact player when he gets an opportunity to play. It was devastating to see him go down and not get a chance to see what the rhythm was going to be with Laine in the mix. But he wore a non-contact jersey, of course, only skated for about 15 minutes, but still, all signs pointing go for him to be trending in the right direction in a timely manner. Gentlemen, hold on to your gold because this one is not going to be a comfortable topic. Minnesota Wild forward Matt Zuccarello ruptured his testicle after leaving the Minnesota Wild game when they were winning 3-0 over Montreal, blocking a shot from his own teammate. He dented his cup and ruptured his testicle. He's going to be out for 3 to 4 weeks, and crazy enough, it was one of his teammates that confirmed exactly what went down there, but the force that Faber can shoot with, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine the pain, but good news is 3 to 4 weeks and not too much other damage outside of what sounds extraordinarily painful. And then wrapping up our injury report or casing the league here on NHL Today, Matthew Knies. Love Matthew Knies. He's been such a clutch player for the Maple Leafs, and I love seeing the elevation of his play from season to season, and the guys that he gets to play alongside. Should be okay, but he did exit the game versus Vegas on Wednesday night in the 2nd period. Will not play this Sunday versus Utah, by the way, and all of this was after what was said to be a high hit on Matthew Knies, a little rattled and shaken up there in the upper body department. Now, that's casing the league. We got to go on the positive side of things, right? It's time to pick our 3 stars of the week. We don't make it basic. We don't make it obvious. What guys deserve a couple stars? I got to start with this one. Mark Scheifele. First of all, he's on one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. Currently the 16th ranked player in the NHL, 24 points in 19 games, 3-game winning goals, and a 26.7 shooting percentage. And oh, by the way, yeah, he can score on the top goalies in the league. He was the one who continues to stay hot and finding the back of the net versus a guy named Igor Shesterkin, who is one of the best goaltenders out there, per Rangers fans and a lot of other hockey fans out there. But this guy is just unstoppable. Picked up his 9th career hat trick versus the Florida Panthers in a comeback W 6-3 the other night. Then we talked about Avi being out 4 to 6 weeks, but this means that somebody's got to step up. Somebody's got to rise to the occasion. Well, Dylan Strom's been pretty tremendous in equal measure to what Avi has been producing for the Capitals, a team that couldn't score for crap last season, but has found a way to find the back of the net more consistently this year. And I know to pick him as a star today, it's kind of testy. First of all, 28 points in 19 games, plus 18 rating. He's sitting higher than Avi when it comes to the plus-minus, and I love a good plus-minus rating. Not a great performance last night versus the Avs. We'll get into that in just a second, but 5 points in his last 3 games. He has been so consistent in either finding those passing lanes, creating those passing lanes, and his role is going to be even stronger with creating those passing lanes. I'm expecting him to be more of a leader, especially playing next to Alexis Protas, because you've got some younger guys around him. They're going to have to get into the mix here, but he's going to have to be that filler with the absence of Avi in the mix. Now, one of the issues is that playing on a new line, you're going against an Avalanche team that their pace of play and their ability to just set up before you can blink, that's a tough team and a tough test to go against when the line's got to get thrown in the blender a little bit. So give the Capitals some time, but more importantly, still give Dylan Strome his flowers because he's been great, and I think that he's going to step up just fine, keep this team on pace until their great leader returns. Then, for another guy, I already alluded to this, Will Cooley. This is officially a Will Cooley show, account, stand, all the terminology that you want to use to back up Will. Yeah, this is it. He has been the ultimate clutch player for the New York Rangers. He has brought that third line to life. He has brought Kakko to life. He has brought Hito to life. He has been such an energizer in a number of ways, and he's not even overcomplicating it. It's nothing too flashy. It's nothing too crazy. He's so gritty in front of the net, and his ability to pick up rebounds and just keep the garbage out or clean it has been tremendous this season and crucial for the Rangers to stay in a number of contests. So you're talking about a guy, 15 points in 18 games, 7 goals, sitting at a plus 13, 1-game winning goal, and a lead contributor on the best line for the New York Rangers. May I say more? Okay, I'll say a little bit more. Just to put into context how strong this third line has been, you're talking about the only line for the New York Rangers where each player is sitting in a double-digit plus rating. You got Cooley sitting at that plus 13. You got Hito at a plus 11. You got Kakko sitting at a plus 12. And come on, we all tweeted about it the other day. You're seeing Kakko smile again. You're seeing hockey come back to life for him, and that's going to be crucial for a team that expects to be in the postseason and make a bit of a bigger run. Honorary mention-wise, a number of guys that have just been putting up great numbers. I've got to talk about Kaprizov because he sits at the top of the charts when it comes to the NHL conversation, period. He's number 1 in the league right now, 34 points in 19 games, 13 goals, 21 assists, sitting at a plus 16. This Minnesota team is giving 5 years ago vibes, and they're able to piece their game together. They're able to stay in contest with some of the best other teams out there. But more importantly, it's just how consistent of a leader Kaprizov has been. He's so hard to stop. He's one of the first guys to start generating that odd man rush to bring that pressure to their opponent. And with them having some injuries tally up, you're not seeing them really slow down in pace either. You're still seeing the game collectively come together, and Kaprizov is leading the charge in that. Not to mention is that his ability to always show up in the third period, no matter what the score may be at the end. Minnesota Wild, honorary mention, you got to put Kaprizov in the mix. Nathan McKinnon sitting number 2 in the league currently, and then Martin Necas. He's another one where everything I just spewed about Kaprizov can be equally addressed to Necas for the Hurricanes, but it's about some other guys. We don't always like to go with the most obvious ones. That's what the NHL report is for, but other than that, I like the 3 stars that we picked. You got Cooley, you got Strom, and you've got Scheifele, who I think deserves a lot of roses. We've got Dave Sharapan joining me on the other side for a little face-off action. And then, of course, it's a light slate tonight, just 2 games, but that doesn't mean that we don't have some favorite plays of the day and some long shot lamplighters that I'm feeling really good about before we head into the weekend and even more NHL games coming down the pipeline. Follow SportsGrid over at SportsGrid. Make sure you've got your calendars marked to join us for NHL Today every Friday at 2 o'clock from 2 to 2:30. And more importantly, hang out with me on the other side of this quick break when Dave Sharapan join us for more NHL talk.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Totally, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma would do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back into NHL Today here on SportsGrid TV. As promised, I get to hang with one of my favorite line mates. You know this face. You should know this face. Dave Sharapan. Yes. I forgot the hockey nickname that I gave you. Sharpie's been on the top of my mind all day, but I wasn't sure if we agreed on that. I wasn't sure if it vibed, if it was right.
It works. Whatever you want to say, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just like my daughters. They can call me anything they want as long as they call. You call me for a shift every Friday. It doesn't matter what you call me. I'm good. I'll be here. And the face-off segment, the graphics are great. I mean, let's drop the puck. Let's go. What do you got? Yeah, this is great.
Let's get it. Okay, before I get into my favorite plays of the day, I'm going to save that because we didn't get a chance to talk about anything futuristic with hockey. And I know we started to get into it, but we were up against a break and then up against time. But you got some of the best teams. People put money on these teams. It was a lock for the Predators to be in the mix. It was a lock for the Oilers to be in the mix. We've seen the Oilers have shaky starts, though, and then end up in the postseason. So I had to get your opinion on this. Looking at the Stanley Cup odds right now, Oilers are still sitting at the top at plus 800. Stars are right behind them, plus 950. You got the Hurricanes at plus 1,000. Florida Panthers tied at the same number. The Rangers 12-1 odds, and then the Devils at 13-1 odds. Which team should really kind of start bowing out of this contest? Which team is probably looking like you need more time, you need more development, you need a new season?
Well, I mean, you can see it with those, that the two Western Conference teams are maybe, I don't want to say clear and far away above the other ones, but they are perception-wise in the betting space. Then it's that big clump of whatever that you find maybe in the bottom of your hockey bag when you don't clean out your equipment, that stuff that's in there, that smell. It's all these teams in the middle of the East. Now, that's probably going to be the Final Four, right? The Hurricanes, the Panthers, the Rangers, the Devils. I don't want to say the Maple Leafs would be that team that you just referenced, but we've seen the Leafs fall in the spring in Toronto for years. Yeah. And it's just one of those ones where, look, they're playing good right now, and they're going to I want to believe that they can actually be that team that everybody wants them to be, that's a Maple Leafs fan or someone that bets them to win the Stanley Cup. But I mean, for years, we had people come in the book here in Vegas from Canada, Leafs fans, and bet them to win the Cup every year. And the joke was, this is just for this year and not your lifetime.
They really do. They keep bringing it back to the table. The Maple Leafs are always in the conversation, no matter what. Roster can be injury-ridden. Their defense could be non-existent. Yes, they made some good moves. They bolstered. I mean, I love them having Elfman Lawson on their roster, but more importantly, the consistency just tends to lack. Now, I hate to do this to you. We're line mates. I never want to disrespect your team. But with the issues that the Penguins are going through right now, and they got a game tonight, they're kind of remove themselves as that wild card conversation. They kind of remove themselves as that boulder in the way for potentially, Capitals team. So looking at the Metropolitan, you've got the Capitals now sitting in fourth place right behind the Devils at plus 950 to potentially be a division winner. They do lose Alex Ovechkin for 4 to 6 weeks. There's a number of guys that should be able to step up. They fell short to the Avs last night. But what do you kind of make of the shakeup in the Metro? Because Hurricanes are on top, Rangers right behind. Rangers kind of letting up a number of goals, and I find it to be slightly problematic. Devils right behind them, and then the Capitals. I had to add it in.
I know you did. Don't mention Igor right now, please. We only have a couple more minutes. I know. Listen, the Penguins are down, and they're going to continue to be down. The goaltending issues are real, and you can see it with the lines. I mean, tonight they're minus 175. Winnipeg's minus 175 at Pittsburgh, and I don't think it's high enough. I mean, the Penguins are going to, win today against Winnipeg on the first game of a back-to-back. I don't think so. The Jets are the best team in the league for betting units. On the money line, they get the most wins, the most points, and the most goals. So 6.5 for the total case. I'm looking at this going, it's probably going to go over. The Jets team total's going over for sure. I mean, this one may fall 5-1, but I mean, when you look at the list of over teams, the Jets aren't on it. The Capitals are. That's the difference, Case. That's they're scoring goals. So, but now that may take a step back. With Ovi getting hurt, it was a bummer. I hate to see the guys in the league, the older guys in the league get hurt, and them having such a season so far. I mean, 20 games in is a quarter. You're at the quarter pole, and they're in it. So nobody saw that coming. They got to withstand 4 to 6 weeks. He'll be back in 4.
I know. I'm crossing my fingers for 4 because to be so electric, who wants to see that man go down for any period of time? Which perfectly pivots us to some of my favorite plays of the day. 2-game slate tonight. I'll run through this quick. Jets first period, puck line coming in at plus money of 152. This is a team that scores. We talk about them getting on the board quick, fast, and early. One of those key contributors being Mark Scheifele. 2+ points tonight at plus 196. Now, only picked up a point in the last matchup, but unfortunately, the Pens have taken a little bit more of a digression since then. And plus, I think that the Jets want to have a statement win tonight versus the Penguins after some shakiness down in Florida. My team beating them. I didn't brag. Then you got Kyle Connor, 4+ shots on goal, plus money here. This is one of those other key contributors of pushing the puck forward and finding those lanes. You're wearing the hat. Alex Killorn is a former Bolt, but more importantly, he's been on a bit of a heater as of late. 5 points in his last 4 games with the Ducks. Ducks on a 3-game winning streak as well. And 2 of those wins were on the road. One big W versus a Stars team that we just love to call one of the biggest underdogs out west to get into the mix. Dylan Cousins, 3+ shots on goal. I've had him to pick up points. The Sabres have just been hit or miss consistently with what they're going to do, but Sabres third period puck line up plus money. Try to keep them in a game, and Jason Zucker is usually the guy to get that kind of job done. So what do we think about some of these slates and some of these picks for tonight?
Well, the Winnipeg ones look pretty good. The Buffalo ones, like you said, hit and miss. But I think the Ducks are on a 3-game winning streak, and I think the Ducks are live despite, Tommy maybe putting me in the penalty box for even saying it out loud. I think the plays look good. I think you go minimum 3-3 of the 6. Let's hope you go 4-2 because you got some nice plus on there. I got to tell you, you set me back all morning with the Zuccarello injury news. I mean, that one really hit me in a place that, oh my goodness.
Sorry. I'm sorry to do that to my line mate. What news to leave you all with for NHL?
sharpest football contest show in the land. The Las Vegas Football Contest Show focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
Grandma Bear, who owns the football team, probably comes in, gives a little, oh, man, you're such a good little boy out there. Congratulations, the way you coach this football team. I'm never going to fire you.
Fortunately, I missed you pinching your own cheek as I was looking down and did not know we were getting.
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there with that guy named Ben. Like, that's what your grandma will do to you when you go see her on Thanksgiving or Christmas,
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Together, both Davante Adams and Garrett Wilson had huge nights. Aaron Rodgers loves the two big targets, and he says if this is going to happen, going to be very tough on the defense to decide who they want to go after.
Adams and this kid Wilson, I won't deny what they can do, but nobody else does jack.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
One more round around the rink here for NHL today, and a new line mate joining me, the one and only Joe Madden, to break down the two-game slate for the night and get some future hockey opinions, because we were talking with Dave Sharapan about it. Some of the top teams in the league off to some ugly starts, but we know you can never judge hockey too early. 82 games is a long, long season. But Joe, thank you for finally joining me here on NHL today. My favorite partner in crime when it comes to the hockey talk. How are you doing on this Friday?
I'm doing pretty good. Tiny slate today, but we saw some great games yesterday. The Florida Panthers in a hard spot, losing to the Chicago Blackhawks. There's always situations like that we have to look at, and I think we might have one today.
Oh, you're getting to it, which I'm glad about. Look, I said you're one of my favorite hockey minds. We agree on a lot of things. I'm still rooting for you, but also rooting for my bets. I got to get back in the positive category here. I've been on a bit of a slope when it comes to my favorite picks. So I'm going to get your favorite picks, and then I'm going to add to it on the back end. What do you like in tonight's matchups?
Okay, so it's a Friday, and Kasey, always on a Friday, the upsets can come. All of these hockey teams really have their Saturday schedule circled. It's the big night, hockey night in Canada. You know how it goes, and we look here at the Winnipeg Jets. The Winnipeg Jets are on their first night of a back-to-back. They have the Predators on deck, which is a Central Divisional opponent. They're sitting first in the Central. They're riding so high this season, 16-3, but I do think this is a possibility where they are going to lose this game tonight. I'm looking for the Pittsburgh Penguins to come out nice and strong. Now, good news for the Penguins and Penguins backers is Tristan Jarry has been confirmed in goal tonight. We look at him versus the Winnipeg Jets. This is a team where he has been so phenomenally strong versus Kasey. He's got a 1.15 goals against average, a 960 save percentage versus the Jets in his career. And I do think in this game here, while we have seen the Winnipeg Jets so strong, we've seen that little bit of slump in a couple of their games offensively, and I think they're going to struggle to score on Tristan Jarry tonight. And then we look at the schedule. In Kasey, I mentioned it with the Florida Panthers. They were in a prime letdown spot last night. Looking at their schedule ahead of them and behind them, and I think the Winnipeg Jets are in the same situation. They played three road games. That was the Rangers, Lightnings, and Panthers. So hard. And then they came home, faced the Panthers at home. Now they're coming on the road here to face the Pittsburgh Penguins here tonight. And then they have the Predators on deck. And then we look ahead at that. They have the Wild, the Kings, and Vegas. Looking at the opponent here in the Pittsburgh Penguins, I do think with how low they're sitting in the Metro, they're going to look past them. So it's the Penguins in this game. It's Sidney Crosby for his 600th goal tonight. That's coming in at plus 180. And if you have to circle someone from Winnipeg, I like your Mark Scheifele where you're going with that. I think Kyle Connor as well. You know he always steps up, but I wouldn't count those power play points in tonight because, well, you look at the kill here for the Penguins, they're actually doing really strong on it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the first things that I noticed. They're sitting top 10 when it comes to their penalty kill, which we've seen Winnipeg use as kind of a momentum swing. But like I said, I support you as a line mate. I just need Scheifele for 2 points in the mix. And I'm hoping that, unfortunately, Penguins have been one of the worst teams against the odd man rush this season. And then you've got a Winnipeg team that's really good at generating that odd man rush on the flip of a dime. So all I need is my 2 points, and we can move along from there. Then we've got the other game. We've got the Ducks taking on the Sabres. Sabres another team that's just kind of been hit or miss for me. They put on these flashy performances like 6 goals versus the Rangers, and then they just go into a slump after that, or they get into these defensive battles where they don't show up until the third period. I do have a third period puck line for the Sabres tonight. I do have Jason Sucker for a goal. But where are you lying when it comes to this matchup?
Yeah, 2 young, talented teams out here on the ice that really have been stepping up as of late, Kasey. They are not, the Carolina Hurricanes of the league, but these teams, I do think, will have a nice battle on the ice. I'm looking for a lower scoring game. We've got goaltenders that have been playing hot. Dostal has been getting the Ducks these wins, and we look at Lankakin, and I had a lot of faith in him going into this season. Now, still question marks on if Tage Thompson will hit the ice tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, so I am leaning to the Anaheim Ducks to get the win tonight. I think this is a back and forth, lower scoring game, one that has every opportunity of going to overtime. So I'm going to combine some of those point combos with Troy Terry, Leo Carlson, and Ryan Strome for the Ducks. And then Jason Zucker, I love where you're going with that, and Alex Tuck over for the Sabres.
I love all of that. I do have Leo Carlson for a long shot goal. And then adding to that odd man rush versus the Penguins, it's Vladislav Nemestikov because he's one of the fastest skaters on that Jets roster. Joe, as always, a pleasure talking hockey with you. You can also catch Joe across the network, Puck It with Joe, all of the goodies. And then I'm sure they're going to pull you into Game Time Decisions tonight for more hockey talk and other football bets. It's a wrap for us here on NHL Today. But as I reminded you all, circle your calendar because every Friday from 2 to 2:30, you can catch the hockey talk. You can catch the puck drop right here on SportsGrid TV. Until next Friday, everyone have a wonderful weekend.
The sharpest foot.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. Good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards. That was Lincoln! But he had that program was already going there!
Only on SportsGrid.
We live in a society right now where everybody's a snowflake, everybody's a cupcake, and everybody thinks that nothing is fair. Everything is like, it's not fair. We should have a better chance. We need more. You know what? I'm old enough to remember when you needed to have a perfect goddamn record to win a college football championship. That's the way it was. 11-1, too bad.
Sports Rage tonight, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all. It's
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
When you look at Marcus Johnson, when you look at Nikola Jokic, these aren't guys that are big, super athletic, dunking and jumping over people. These are just guys that are clean, skilled footwork, and do things below the rim that make the everyday guy look like it's be like, I can do that. But you can't. And neither can I.
Betting above the rim. Only on Sports